Let's continue with this now with Marco Forgione, Director General of the Chartered Institute of Export and International Trade. Marco, thanks so much for your time. What do you think of the countries that have been hit by US tariffs? Are they in a better or worse position after this ruling, in your view?
Well, after the announcement of the 10% tariffs across the board, most countries are in a slightly better position. They're in a better position because the marginal tariff rate has reduced, and more importantly, they're in a better position because at least now there's a degree of certainty with regards to what the terms and the rules are. And there's certainty also with regards to the limits of the presidential power in implementing tariffs. Now, we only have 150 days of that certainty, and during the next 150 days, for sure, President Trump and the administration will be initiating new investigations about the possibility of there being unfair trade practices, and therefore the ability of the administration to impose much higher tariffs. All of this, of course, being used as part of a bargaining tool, as part of the America First agenda and President Trump's geopolitical ambitions.
What do you think this means for a country like China?
Well, there's going to be a marginal drop in the general rate of tariffs for the non-contentious products, the consumer goods, clothing, products that were part of the so-called Liberation Day announcements. In areas that are contentious around national security, the so-called fentanyl tariffs, those will remain in place. So you're going to see a drop from somewhere between 35 and 50% to 20 to 35% on the tariffs. But that is only for the next 150 days. I think the biggest point, though, is that as we enter the beginning of the Year of the Horse, we do have, in a few weeks' time, the US state visit to China, where President Trump will be meeting President Xi. And it'll be interesting to see what comes out of those conversations and those negotiations in Beijing. I think it's worth bearing in mind, of course, that the characteristics of the Year of the Horse are that they are decisive, but they can be easily swayed and are impatient. I think that's a great example of where we are currently in President Trump's engagement with international trade.
Yeah, and you put it so well when you said, well, we've got 150 days of certainty, because that's how long these new tariffs under the Trade Act can be imposed for. I presume the Trump administration will work on other tariffs that they can introduce during that time. What does all this say about the United States' reputation as a reliable trading partner?
But I think we have to recognize that what President Trump is doing is not just about trade. Trade is an important part of it. It is a much more significant America First agenda, and he very determinedly is unpicking the existing global multilateral system. So we are going to see ongoing pressure and efforts on a bilateral basis for President Trump to impose his will, to drive investment and manufacturing back into the United States, and to use all the tools at his disposal to achieve that. Obviously, there are nations that are not going to want to sign up or to be subject to those sorts of pressures, and there are opportunities, I think, moving forwards for the BRICS to try and establish a new trading community. We've heard, of course, from Mark Carney about moves to establish a Middle Nations alliance with the UK, Australia, and others. So we're seeing the emergence of new structures within the global supply chain, global multilateral engagements. And it's going to be interesting where this actually rests, particularly where the most powerful, largest economy in the world is determined to impose its will against others.